It's lovely. Good evening, Zambia. Good evening, Africa, and warm welcome to Zambia Decides program right on KBN TV from Zambia's capital city, Lusaka. And we're remaining with 5 days to go before the country decides who's going to be the next president of the country for the next 5 years. But also the country or citizens will be electing members of parliament, council chairpersons, ward level, in terms of the membership as well as parliamentary level. Now, the 2026 general elections has accommodated quite a number of faces. We are talking about 13 political parties that are on the ballot, including an independent presidential candidate in Honorable Hon Katotobwe. But before that, actually, the country witnessed some forms of drama in as far as the filing of nominations is concerned. And this was after the Prsdt for Economic Progress, PEP, was blocked from filing the nominations. According to the commission, the party was found with some anomalies as far as the documentations are concerned at the Registrar of Societies. After an inquiry by the party leaders at the time in engineer Honorable Hon Katotobwe, who was supposed to be the presidential candidate at the time, the party was actually found to have been turned or converted into a church or religious organization. Honorable Hon Katotobwe is a renowned businessman, but also politician who has served as Luapula member of parliament from 2021 to 2026. He resigned, unprecedentedly so, resigned from his role as member of parliament in order to champion his bid for the presidency. However, after that failed, he decided to rally behind the candidature of Brian Mundwile and the Tonse Alliance ahead of the 2026 general election, together with a man who should have been his running mate, that's Sean Tembo, who is now standing as a member of parliament under Roma constituency. On the program this evening, as we get to exchange the notes as far as the countdown is concerned, I have Engineer Honorable Hon Katotobwe, President of the PEP, joins me on set. President Hon Katotobwe, welcome and good evening to you.
Good evening, Presenter Innocent. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a phenomenal period in the history of this country. We have 5 days to go before we cast, our votes on election day. And it's been a momentous period. The country has gone through a lot of issues, a lot of challenges, but here we are. We are glad to be here. We are glad to urge the discourse of the political discourse of our nation, which we love so much. And we want the benefit of decent leadership to trickle down to our people, to our people, yes. Good evening, fellow citizens, fellow Zambians, voters. I'm sure everybody is getting geared to cast their vote come next week, Thursday. Right. And people have decided.
People have decided.
The people of Zambia have decided.
Right.
There's a change of government coming. The people of Zambia have decided they want a new president, to lead Zambia.
Wow.
And you can't stop the will of the people. The will of the people. You can do propaganda. There are some things that you can't, stop. It's a phenomenal will of the people. I mean, for the sake of maybe some viewers out there, in the history of Zambia, we have never seen, these unprecedented, times where in 8 weeks, the country decides to rally behind, an opposition leader with such, enormous, momentum. Normal when we had normal democracy in the country. Political parties were allowed to mobilize over a period of 5 years. And we have elections, every 5-year cycle. And everybody is free to go and canvass, speak to the people, we share ideas, tell them why they should vote for this party and not this party. But in the last 5 years, we have seen an unprecedented level of deterioration in terms of record lowest ever governance of our country, which has resulted in going into an election with so much permutations. You go through a process where to file in nomination becomes like you are going to write an exam. Nomination is a procedural. It's administrative work. The eligibility or rules of who can contest presidential election, parliamentary election, mayoral elections are defined in the Constitution of Zambia. So the Constitution of Zambia defines what it takes to be eligible to contest. Unfortunately, Electoral Commission of Zambia, which is not credible, I must state that from the onset, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, under its current commissioners, is not credible, decides to weaponize simple procedural administrative issues of nominations to become so tensed up with a scenario of anytime people can be blocked from contesting. We are victims. When I say we, I refer to myself and my colleague Hon Tembo, of the lack of independence at the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Electoral Commission of Zambia must stop masquerading as an independent, autonomous body, because they are simply not independent. They listen to outsiders, and that's how they received 100,000 kwacha nomination fee from myself under the Patriots for Economic Progress. After receiving that 100,000 kwacha nomination fee, what do? They come and turn away our bid for nomination to stand for presidency and say, this is a document we have, this is a church, and it's no longer a political party. These secretary generals of the party have been altered. But is the Electoral Commission of Zambia supposed to be listening to outsiders, or do they have mandate to decide on who tells them that this political party is now a church?
I'm glad, Engineer Katotobwe, that you've just begun on that, because the people of Zambia would want to listen and hear from you, from the horse's mouth now, in that we've been trying by all means to have you on this platform so that you can give clarity to all these issues, the confusion, the fiasco which happened at a day on a day of nominations. And especially for a person like you who was actually contesting at the presidential level for the first time.
Absolutely.
And you are calling the Electoral Commission of Zambia or its officials to order and accusing them to be compromised already. Now, tell me something. At what point did you discover, or at what point did you notice that your house was not in order with the Registrar of Societies? Because I'm sure that is basically the baby of the Registrar of Societies, and you yourselves as leaders, maybe not the commission, as it were, as you want to put it. When was this discovered?
The process is very simple. I was a sitting member of Parliament for Luapula constituency from 2021 to 2026. I resigned following my acceptance to contest the presidency under Patriots for Economic Progress. And under the Zambian constitution, that means I'd crossed the floor. So the moment I said, I'm now going to stand as a presidential candidate for Patriots for Economic Progress, PEP, having crossed the floor, I did not wait for a ruling, to be declared that the seat is vacant, or whatever processes. I opted to obey the oath of office which I took. We took oath to protect the Zambian constitution, and we took oath when being sworn in as a member of parliament. So I made a decision consistent with the oath I took and resigned. Now, when the first thing you do, of course, you check your documents. Your qualifications is grade 12, certificate. Do the sponsoring party has his house in order? Yes. This is a political party that participated in elections in 2016 and 2021 as a political party. And for the record, it has come to my attention that the Patriots for Economic Progress as a party, the office bearers were consistent from inception.
Right.
So there has been no changes of office bearers from the time the party, was put together. So with all that in perspective, and having been issued with a duly signed adoption certificate by the Patriots for Economic Progress, there was a demand that the duly signed adoption certificate must be executed by the president of the party and the secretary general of the party. So my documents were signed by the president of the party at that time and the secretary general of the party. When we went we had paid the 100,000 kwacha nomination fee as provided for by the law. We were required to have 100 supporters in each province, which we mobilized with ease. It was oversubscribed. And we had 100 supporters countrywide coming together to 1,000 supporters to make our eligibility valid, our nomination valid. When now we went to Mlungushi International Conference Center to do the final leg of this administrative process, we were shown something from Register of Societies, which fortunately, my colleague Sean was able to get a copy, of where the political party had been changed to a church. Its business is ministering and preaching. We were shocked. Secondly, they had made two changes to the secretary generals of the party. They removed the secretary general of the party, who had been there from inception, to replace her with two different names of ordinary executive members of the party. So when that stage reached that you can't proceed, the adoption certificate is signed by a wrong secretary general of the party. And secondly, this is not a political party, it's a church. Mind you, they already took the 100,000 kwacha from the church. So from there,
which had applied as a political party.
As a political party, right. Yes. From there, we were, my colleague and Sean said, no, this can't be possible. Maybe it's an administrative error. Let's rush to Register of Society, which really I don't want to dwell on, but for the sake of the interview, I want to give a holistic, perspective of what happened.
Yes, please do.
So we rushed there. When we got there, we told, no, give us an hour, 2 hours. We are consulting with PS. Finally, we're able to see the Registrar of Societies, the acting registrar, who told us that the changes were made from a business center. And whatever name he mentioned of a business center, effected changes. My colleague then, Sean Tembo, then president of PEP, asked to say, how can government records be altered from a business center? I also said, can you come here and go to a business center and change records of the ruling party? So he says, no, they were changed. So what we could do is you can pick one of these two who had been wrongly appointed as secretary generals of the party. I said, no, you must reinstate, the genuine secretary general of the party who's been signing documents from inception. From there, the Registrar of Societies says, if I go to reinstate the secretary general of the party, it will take over 30 days or 3 months to finish the processes of fingerprints, vetting, whatever lists he put up. So if you want to process your nomination in time before the nomination for presidency closes, I would advise that you go and appoint between these two secretary generals of the party, appoint one. And then I'll make amendments to your record. I'll amend the record so that by the following day, which was going to be a Thursday, you would be able to go and file it. We reluctantly, proceeded. So my colleague said, anyway, let's go. We go and make changes. We appoint the new Secretary General. Under the PEP Constitution, the president of the party has mandate to appoint the Secretary General of the party. The two gentlemen who are being referred to were not appointed by any president of PEP. There was no source document which the Registrar of Society could show us, apart from shuttling between his office and the office of the Permanent Secretary. Office of the Permanent Secretary, Home Affairs and Internal Security. From there, the letter of appointment was done. Of those two appointed, those two people who are put there as Secretary General of the party, one of them is deceased, one is alive. So naturally, my colleague, President Hon Tembo, president of PEP then, appointed the one who is alive. And we had to run adoption certificates the whole night. He had to get them signed, and we had to send vehicles countrywide to deliver new adoption certificates, because mind you, in a general election, to be able to be competitive, you must compete from ward councillor.
Correct.
You've got over 2,800 ward councillors to participate. You have over 226 members of parliament. You have over 100, council chairpersons. For you to be competitive, you must field candidates countrywide. In a normal environment, you must field candidates countrywide, because even where you are not winning the presidential vote or the parliamentary seat, the presidency is cumulative. So you need to get some votes from everywhere to add on to your cumulative votes to hit the 50+1 number. So in the night, we never slept, proceeded, did everything, dispatched everybody throughout the provinces, 10 provinces, some remote places and whatever. Following morning, we got to filing. One of the officials, one of the chairmen from the party, was sent to go and check at Registrar of Societies if the amendments had been done. And the registrar said, why did you appoint this one and not the other one? So the official says, but how can you appoint a dead person? How do you want us to appoint a dead person? We proceeded to the nomination center for the presidency, which was Mulungushi International Conference Center. And there, when we were submitting documents, just when we were about to finalize or finish, the person who was handling the documents, Sikota or something, I can't remember exactly his name, came and told us that the Secretary General of the party has been amended. It's no longer a church. They've amended the record. So the registrar, the acting registrar of societies, did amend the record. So the record was amended. The party was no longer a church. However, the Secretary General of the party, who has signed your adoption certificate, is not the one who has been appointed. In the amended record, they've put the name of the deceased person, a dead person, as Secretary General of the party, contrary to the instructions of the party. Now, with that background, it became very clear that if the amendment to appoint a dead person, and I don't understand this lack of respect for the dead, amendment to appoint a deceased person can be done 24 hours. To reinstate the alive, existing, the person who's been SG for over 10 years, it was going to take, over a month. At that point, we realized this level of misbehavior, it's crime. This level of criminality is not being done at a low level, it's being done at a high level. We decided to write 2 letters with full knowledge that Electoral Commission of Zambia is not credible. Electoral Commission of Zambia, I must insist that in its current, it's not a credible institution.
And you still maintain your allegation?
Yes, I still maintain it's not credible. It's not credible. So we wrote them a letter to say extend the nomination period so that we can have this thing resolved. Because you can't disenfranchise innocent people like that. It's not about Hon Katotobwe or Hon Tembo. It's about Zambia. You can't change government records just like that and walk away. When you go into the election period, Parliament is dissolved. The de facto Minister of Home Affairs becomes the President of Zambia, Hakainde Hichilema. So we wrote a letter to him as President of Zambia and de facto Minister of Home Affairs. The Permanent Secretary of Home Affairs and Internal Security reports the President. So we brought to the attention of President Hakainde Hichilema the criminality which took place at Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security, and how we had been disenfranchised and that he should intervene. Unfortunately for us, we never got any reply. In the absence of any response, we decided to go to the press, and we held the press briefing on a Friday, which was like the closing bet. We held the press briefing and basically narrated what our deal was and what has happened to our bid. In that period, I encouraged, my colleague Hon Tembo to quickly go and file in for Roma constituency to salvage something, because clearly this is crime and there is no rule of law. Because if you go to contest, it's the people of Zambia who should give you zeros. The work of Electoral Commission of Zambia is to just facilitate administratively that you must be able to, be on the ballot paper. So we proceeded. As we proceeded, we discovered that the same documents which Electoral Commission of Zambia refused, and made our bid invalid, and we were not able to compete. The same documents were accepted by the same Electoral Commission of Zambia in Kabwata. So Patriots for Economic Progress has a parliamentary candidate in Kabwata, Mr. Mawere. The same documents which me and Hon Tembo were rejected by the same institution were accepted in Imbala. We have a candidate in Saise constituency. It's a newly delimited constituency. In Imbala, we have a candidate on Patriots for Economic Progress, Mr. Siame Penza is our candidate there. We have a councillor candidate who also went through in Sinda, Chilongozi Ward. Now, a good number of our candidates were rejected, yes, but a few went through with the same institution. So when I'm saying they lack credibility, how do you have the same institution, same adoption certificate, same signatories, rejected at the presidential level for nomination, and the same documents accepted in isolated parliamentary constituencies and councillors? How? How do you explain that level of madness? How do you explain it?
Well, as you call it madness, Engineer Katotobwe, I think make me understand, and the viewers watching the program really, from the introduction you've given, that in the first place your documents were deemed to be invalid. Your documents were not properly arranged according to the Registrar of Societies, but also in collaboration with the Electoral Commission of Zambia. They found that your documents were not well organized. Now, how did you manage to also have other candidates file in at parliamentary level as well as ward level, using the very documents which you and Hon Tembo were rejected on? What happened?
It's lawlessness.
Maybe just to give evidence to that, Honorable, allow me just to flash this on the screen, because I think you anticipated that this will come along the way. But let's have these pictures on the screen, even as Honorable is speaking or justifying his point. So how did you manage to, how did the commission accept some other names contesting on your political party, and on the other side, or on the other hand, rejecting you, that you can't file in on this political party because it is a church? Well, your children were accepted, some of them.
It's bizarre. It's shocking. It's recklessness. When I'm saying Electoral Commission of Zambia must stop posturing as a credible, independent institution, I mean exactly that. I'm not one to make unfair allegations. No, I resigned from Parliament on principle. I'm not one to come and put an allegation on an institution, which we should be proud of as a Zambian, because the Electoral Commission of Zambia has conducted elections in Zambia before. So when you have a scenario where same documents which we are using for the presidency or presidential bid is rejected, same documents are accepted. Same institution, they reject our documents at presidential bid. Same institution, they accept our documents at parliamentary and councillor bids. What reasoning, what rationale can you give to such an institution? What level of inconsistency? You say no to the presidential bid, you go and say yes to the parliamentary bid, same adoption certificate.
Signed by the same signatories.
Same signatories. So it's indecent. It's recklessness. It's recklessness that makes me sad as a Zambian national, because this injures the very fiber of our country. I'll tell you, in the advent of when Zambia went into multipartyism in 1991, the first country to go, multipartyism, in that wind of change was Benin. They had the elections in March, and a new president emerged in Benin. Then we saw Mali in, I think, April 1991. They went to election, a new president emerged. Then we had Zambia in October. And the late President Prsdt HH emerged, because in a democracy, you must give chance to everybody to participate. Let the people's will prevail. But when you have people disenfranchised by an institution called Electoral Commission of Zambia, which has been decorated for changing, presidents in Zambia by a credible presidential management of the presidential vote. When you have a credible management of the presidential electoral presidential vote, which has led to change of governments, so many times in Zambia.
Tell me something, Honorable. How did this affect you? To what extent did you get, affected yourself? Because in the first place, you had to sacrifice, your job at Parliament. You had to pave way on principle, as you've mentioned, and out of morality, that, look, the Constitution tells me that if you're going to join a different political party, or you close the floor, meaning that you have to resign. And you did that.
Yes.
In preparations for you to become a Zambian president via the Pathways for Economic Progress, PEP, and then later on, you get to be blocked by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. How did this affect you, if any?
Personally, I was not heavily affected, really, because it's a lot of work, making a decision to run for presidency. And it's a lot of responsibility, when you succeed and you're president of the country. You must look after 22 million Zambians, so it's a lot of work. I meant well. Together with my colleague, Hon Tembo, we were coming to the table with solutions for the many challenges of our people. We were not coming to the table with excuses, no. We were geared and we were determined to come and offer solutions to the sufferings of our Zambian people. Our ticket was based on solutions. Because it was based on solutions, when we were disadvantaged, the greatest sadness is that our people of Zambia lose an opportunity to be able to make a decision and compare, who's competing, because we must be able to compete. The other downside of the issue, really, it's the many candidates we lined up. In a normal, democratic environment, you must field as many candidates as possible in order to be an effective participant at presidential level, because the presidential vote is cumulative. It's cumulative. So you need votes, whether it's in Tudumwezi, you get 2,000 votes, it must add on So you need that. Now, the many candidates we had who were all geared for this level of participation, some of them resigned, their jobs to participate in the elections, and they were not able to compete, and their lives have been disturbed. That one is very sad and tragic, for the bulk of our candidates who were not accepted. But for me, as a person,
I think that's a picture I was
yes, that's
for there, just for the sake of the viewers there.
Yes, he's our candidate in Chilongozi Ward. Chilongozi Ward in Sinda. He's contesting under PEP. He used the same credentials. The same credentials which myself and running mate Sean were meant to use. So when I'm saying Electoral Commission of Zambia is not credible and is not independent because it listens to outsiders to make decisions, this is what I'm referring to. Can you see the contrast? Same credentials, in one hand are used, accepted, in the other hand it's a change. So where are you taking our society to? Where is our society going? So it's recklessness. So when I'm saying Electoral Commission of Zambia is not credible, this is what I mean. So on next week on Thursday, there is the PEP candidates who are appearing on the ballot papers, who used the same documents which me and Sean Tembo were using, but were disqualified. And many other parliamentary candidates.
Let's have another next clip, Director. Next picture.
Were also disqualified. But the others went through. Same institution. Just in Kawata here.
In Lusaka.
In Lusaka, just in Kawata, we have a PEP candidate there. The Mr. Mawere.
Wow.
He was accepted and is on the ballot paper.
What can we do to maybe avoid such kind of, confusion in the future, which are being made by trusted institutions?
Yes, it's unfortunate and it's very painful. I love my country, Zambia. I must state that very clearly. So when we come and say Electoral Commission of Zambia is not credible, and I insist it's not credible, I stand my ground. It's injures Zambia. You see, because Zambia, the Electoral Commission of Zambia is a decorated institution because it has held elections which has led to change of presidents, not once, on several occasions. So when you are appointed to these jobs, my appeal is when you are made commissioner to these jobs, you must be responsible. Be a responsible citizen and know that this job you've been appointed to requires you to be independent, it requires you to have autonomy. If you are scared of being fired from your job, or if you are scared of whatever other issues, stand down. Don't accept these jobs, which involves, which is sensitive and borders on so many lives of the people of Zambia. I haven't even touched on the issues of the Malanji saga. The Malanji, election by election. Where there is a pronouncement of this and there is a block of this. It's so untidy. The Bowman Lusambo saga, so untidy. So since when have we had an Electoral Commission of Zambia which has conducted itself in this manner? So for me, my appeal is that the next week on the 13th of August, as we go to cast our votes, I am casting my vote, and many of our people, we are all rallying behind President Brian Munduvile, who is the incoming Republican president of Zambia.
You're quite emphatic about it.
Yes, it's the mood. The mood in the country when you have these wild allegations that there's no opposition, and yet you have spent 5 years crushing the opposition. And then you have one opposition party or one group of part of the opposition, make it on the ballot paper, and the whole country is aligned and joins the movement, and the momentum grows in 8 weeks. Unprecedented. In this election, because of the poor governance of this country, we are seeing unprecedented things happening. We are seeing a scenario where, like I keep saying, normal, you should have the leading opposition party known by all Zambians. 3 years, 2 years, 1 year before general election, because you have a 5-year period to, assert yourself as a political party, or you have a 6-month period to campaign. But where you have an opposition party mixed on the ballot paper, and everybody aligns to say we are going with this opposition in 8 weeks. 8 weeks. It's totally unprecedented. The NRPUP ticket of Brian Mundubile at Makebi Zulu is not a ticket of 5 years, 4 years, 3 years. No. This momentum from the people tells you that the people of Zambia have decided that they want a change of the president of Zambia. This is not about the MP, councillor, no. So you are going to see the emergence of a rare, an unseen or unprecedented phenomena in the elections in Zambia, where you have no ward councillor candidate, you have no parliamentary candidate, you have no council chairperson candidate, but the people go and vote for Pelampi Brian Mundube. The people are convinced. They are not looking at councillor, mayor. No, they are looking at the top. Normal, your councillor under NRPUP should canvass for you at ward level.
Correct.
Feed into the constituency level, the MP. You, councillor, the MP work together. The mayor, you work together at district or township level. But in this election, even where there is no councillor, a candidate for NRPUP, the people go and vote Pelampi on top, because the people of Zambia are fed up. They are tired. You've not looked after them nicely. It's a very simple story. You can do propaganda, you can say what you want to say, you can claim what you want to claim, but the bottom line is, how have you looked after the people in the last 5 years? Have the people of Zambia been subjected to, a well-looked after citizenry? What have you subjected the people of Zambia in the last 5 years? You can't rig reality. You can do propaganda and say, I've fed all the Zambians, I'm a superstar. But if people are hungry, they're hungry.
When you listen to the proponents of the government and its sympathizers, they'll tell you that the NRPUP of Brian Mundubile and the Tonse Pamosi Alliance, as it were, where you belong yourself, has already lost the elections. Reason being that they have not fielded candidates in some other areas at ward level as well as parliamentary level, and because those, like you rightly put it, those should have been, or those should be your ambassadors. Those should be the people supposed to campaign, to canvass for votes on your behalf as a president at that level. But with the fact that the NRPUP has not fielded candidates in certain wards and constituencies, meaning that is a clear defeat for them.
No, it's the circumstances. It's the same story of there's no opposition. The same story of there's no opposition in Zambia, there's no opposition. The opposition is the people. It's the people of Zambia. Are the people of Zambia happy with you or not? It's a simple question. It's not so complicated. I want to go into GDP, debt moratorium. No. Our people live on very basic. Our people don't even ask for complex things. Ask for basic things. 3 meals a day, access to basic, medical care, access to decent, housing, very basic things. So when you come and say that they've lost the election, who has created the environment for them not to file in 100%? It's the same story of no opposition. Who created the environment for no opposition? Since when? All these years we've had no more opposition. President Hakainde Hichilema stood 5 times before he became president. Why wasn't, his party made a change? There was no more governance structure in the country. So when you go below normal governance structure, you start getting rare, unforeseen, unprecedented situations happen. I can tell you, the proponents of the ruling party did not see the lamp coming. They targeted PF. I'll tell you, the people changing government in these elections, make no mistake, it's the PF. That's why PF could not be on the ballot paper.
All right.
The PF, which is accused of all sorts of things, all sorts of things. You are a proponent of the ruling party. You are scared of a party you defeated. How? Why are you scared of a party you defeated? It's finished. You said there's no PF. It's finished. PF are all rallying behind NRPUP, Brian Mundubile. The sentiments, when you go countrywide, the sentiments in the country is that the people of Zambia had they listed the things they wanted. They wanted a leader from PF. They wanted a leader who was who is a new leader. They wanted PF to rebrand, a new face. Yes, not somebody who was full cabinet minister. They wanted a leader within PF, a leader who must rebrand, and the rest is history. Brian Mundubile has a runaway lead, despite this Electoral Commission of Zambia being not credible. They cannot stop the will of the people. It's overwhelming. When I'm saying Brian Mundubile is becoming the president of Zambia, I'm saying that from a position of I've traversed the whole country. I know the mood in the country. It's rare to find a political party in in 8 weeks, 2 months, mobilized to this level to start making the ruling party start panicking. This non-credible Electoral Commission of Zambia has now gone to a level of removing, the voter verification device. How? Why are you removing the voter verification device, which is what statement they gave today? They said they are methodical. They have spent money. All the voter education, which has been done by Electoral Commission of Zambia, has included the voter verification device. What does the voter verification device do? It's supposed to give you, it's supposed to aggregate. When you go and put your fingerprints there, it will tell you that, yes, you are Mr. Innocent, you are on page 8 and row 5. So the monitors in the polling station will quickly pick and flip. So it's supposed to make voting much, much more easier. And it's supposed to make it quick. That's one. The second one, it gives you aggregated data so that when you come and sit, you want to know the statistics of who voted, how many women voted, how many men voted, how many persons with disability voted. It will give you, because it's supposed to feed into a system at ECZ instantly. Now, last minute, 5 days before polling, you come and announce that we are removing the voter verification device. Who does that? Which credible institution would do that? Taxpayers' money has been spent to procure the voter verification devices. Taxpayers' money has been spent by a so-called methodical government to conduct voter education, including, voter education on how the voter verification device will be used.
You are among the stakeholders from the NRPUP and the Alliance. Was there any engagement in as far as the removal of the voter verification process or devices concerned?
Not to my knowledge, not to my knowledge. And you don't do, when you mean well and you're doing your job above board, you don't make such decisions, 5 days before polling day. What are you doing? What are you doing to the psychology of the people? What do you want? How can such a sensitive institution decide 5 days before polling day, you come and announce that we've removed the voter verification device, and you just walk away and you think it's normal? How? You can't come and announce. When I'm saying Electoral Commission of Zambia is not credible, you come and announce that you announce results on the 17th. You are accrediting, as we speak, Electoral Commission of Zambia is accrediting people at the National Totaling Center. So ECZ is accrediting people at the National Totaling Center to go and watch an ECZ television screen. It is unprecedented, and all this is fear. You see, be autonomous, stand ground. You can't go and announce that there will be no announcement of results. Results will come in, and implication is that results are coming in and you're keeping them. Why are you holding on? Why are you holding on to the results? The people have spoken. The people have voted. Your role is to announce results as and when they come in. That is your job. It is an accepted norm, regionally, continental, globally. It's a normal, globally accepted norm in elections that when results come, the electoral body conducting elections will announce those results as they come. But to come and issue a reckless statement because of lack of credibility and say that you will not announce elections results until starting 17th. We vote on the 13th. By 14th, results start trickling in. By 15th, results will be coming in. 16th, why are you holding on? What do you want? So when you make a pronouncement like that you announce on the 17th, unprecedented, against a standard accepted global concept, and you expect me to come and say Electoral Commission of Zambia is credible. Meanwhile, you are accrediting people at the National Totaling Center. So if you are accredited innocent, you go to the National Totaling Center on 14th of August, or you'll be watching a television screen from Electoral Commission of Zambia. Is that what you want to go and watch? You want to see results. You've seen how results come in at the Mlungwishi National Conference Center. I'm not talking from without. There's a precedence which has been set. There's an accepted norm. There are some things you can do. There are some things you can't do.
What should be done, Honorable, to improve our system and the way we operate, especially where the commission is concerned? But also bear in mind that maybe it could be the usual way of stakeholders always wanting to complain about the Electoral Commission of Zambia, which has delivered many elections in the past.
I'll tell you, it's in any electoral processes, there will be winners, there will be losers.
Correct.
But it's the integrity of the electoral process. That is what has been tampered with by this Electoral Commission of Zambia, which is not credible and should stop posturing as a credible institution. You see, come clean, you are not credible. Because if you are credible, you can't come and announce that you are accrediting people to come and see results coming on 14th. Meanwhile, you come and announce from nowhere that you announce on 17th. So the people you have accredited will come and just sit and watch your television or watch your personnel or watch you. What do you expect? I mean, what reasoning is that? So it's nothing. It's not that people are dull or people don't want to reason. No. It's that people are trying to do things which are not consistent. People are trying to do things last minute. You have had 5 years to prepare for elections. Zambia's election cycle is 5 years. In 5 years, you would have prepared yourselves to say, in these elections, we are not going to use voter verification devices, so we won't test them. They won't be tried in by-elections. We have stopped. We don't want to use them. But you can't come and start making huge announcements which impact. Elections are a process. The election day is the finality of an electoral process. In this electoral process, it's now very questionable. The biggest thing which Electoral Commission of Zambia must realize that they cannot stop the will of the Zambian people. Because why are you being, why are you failing to show credibility? What is your motive? What is your motive not to be credible? So for me, these are questions which anybody who is sitting at the Electoral Commission of Zambia, any commissioner, any employee, must ask themselves, before you are an employee at the Electoral Commission of Zambia, you are a Zambian. You are a Zambian. So behave like a Zambian.
Let's
Do the correct thing.
Let's assume for a minute, if you were in the shoes of President Hakainde Hichilema right now at level of a state house or Republican president at that point, what can you do to improve ECZ's operation? What changes would you make?
If I was sitting, it's a different one.
Yeah.
You know? But if I was sitting in his shoes,
Yes.
you know, at this juncture, I would concede defeat. Yeah, it's the writings on the wall. The writings on the wall. My expectation really is that these things don't happen last minute to improve. No. The Zambian Electoral Commission of Zambia has been run for so many years, decades. This is not the first election they are conducting. They have conducted elections which led to presidential candidates, sitting presidents, losing power. In 2021, President Hakainde Hichilema, he emerged the winner because of the Electoral Commission of Zambia. So it's supposed to be independent. It's supposed to have autonomy. They are not supposed to be listening to outsiders. Yes. So at the end of the day, where it has reached at this stage, it's to tell them to do the correct thing in the interest of our country, Zambia. Tell Electoral Commission of Zambia to start doing the correct thing. Salvage some last-minute credibility by doing the correct thing.
When you listen to your fellow competitors, and that is the UPND and its government, they will tell you that, and they sound very confident, by the way, that we have already won this election. Remember, they are targeting to get about 5 million, if not plus, 5 million votes away from the 2.8 million votes they got in 2021. Now their main target is a 5 million plus votes, or 5 million votes plus. So meaning that they'll tell you that, in fact, they're calling your presidential leaders in Brand Mundwila and Makebe Zulu. These are boys, you know, who were in government a few days ago or a few years ago, and they can't do anything. You know, they have also told us that when you look at the combination of the Brand Mundwila team and the Tonse Alliance, where you belong yourself, they have called you with all sorts of names. They are saying these are thieves, these are criminals, these are Pompwe, you know, Mwena ni Mwena. All those names have been given to you and your group.
Yeah,
when you listen to such, how do you respond to such?
No, when you have no facts, you start becoming vulgar. You say, I'm saying ECZ is not credible. I'm not using vulgar language. Why? I've got facts. So in life, when you have no facts, you resort to insults, you resort to, you know, bakabua pompwe, because you have no facts. You know, the reality is you just don't have any facts. That is the problem. You did not work. Those jobs, when you're elected, power can be given to you at a grand ceremony, Independence Stadium, Euro Stadium, or whatever, and everybody's clapping. When you go and you're given power, you are handed over power, you know, at that level, you must know that the legacy must be earned.
Right.
So power can be given to you at a silver plate like this. Legacy, you must work. Simple question. Have you worked? The answer by the Zambian is no. Maybe the international, you know, international citizens might have a different answer. But the Zambian citizens, Zambian people, the answer is you've not worked. You've not delivered. When you come, you know, you journalists must also help us. You know, I'll give you another angle, another perspective.
Please.
When you have people in government come and say there was cadarism in PF. Yes, I stood and got into political office in 2021. I may not have been in mainstream, you know, politics prior to 2021. But me, I'll tell you, when you say there's cadarism, the big issue about cadarism is that, yes, of course, it must be condemned by all to start with. But the second issue is that this government and its proponents or its supporters, the government chief spokesperson is on record. He called the media and issued a statement which baffled everybody. He said the former information minister, Honorable Cornelius Muitwa, came on stage and said, we in the opposition, when we were in the opposition as UPND, we sponsored Chimba Kambwili to go and talk tribalism against Lungu. Now, as a journalist, do you think that is the only thing they sponsored ahead of 2021? It was only one. They only had one Mingalat which they sponsored. We don't know.
He refused. I mean, he gave context, he gave clarity to that statement according to Mwetwa. I remember covering one of the press briefing, and he said, no, we never meant that. We directly gave or paid Kambwili to begin to issue some disparaging remarks on tribal lines, but the tribal remarks he was issuing against our candidate, that worked well to our advantage. That's the clarity he gave. That's the defense he gave.
Before the defense came up, it was very clear that there are several things which were done, and it was not only one. It's like you go to play football and you only have, one trick to score. No, they must have done several things. So we don't know, because it came from him. Whether he came and gave clarity or not, but it came from him. So when he came and gave clarity, me, with my mind, I start asking questions like, so what else did you do? Did you sponsor, Kadarism? Did you sponsor this? Those are the questions I would expect Zambian journalists to ask. Because you can't go in, this level of contest and say we only did this one thing. There must have been multiple. Must have been multiple.
Let me tap into your...
let me finish. Sure. Let me finish when they say the insult. So for me, I don't belong to a school of thought where we want leaders who must be vulgar. No, it's not necessary. In this technological age, we must just go and do the correct thing. Tell the people what we can do. If there's incompetence, come clean and say, I'm sorry, I'm incompetent for this job. Stand down. Stand down. Because what we have really is, incompetence at that level. You are in government and you are incompetent. It cascades to masses suffering. Incompetence, corruption is bad. We want to condemn corruption. But when you have a scenario where you combine corruption and incompetence, you're finished. So we must have competent people ascend to these political jobs. In my 5 stay in parliament, I've always advocated for our middle class, the educated, to join politics. This discussion of politics is dated. I can't join. No, we have a country at stake. It's a sacrifice. You asked, how I felt or what has happened after our bid was, botched. It's a sacrifice. But me, I sacrifice for my country. And I've no apologies to make. I'm a nationalist. I love my country. So when I sacrifice for my country and I'm a nationalist, why should I apologize? But we need our best brains in Zambia to start taking part in political space. Even these elections, as we go to vote on the 13th, next week Thursday, my appeal is that the middle class, the educated class, must show up and go and vote. They must go and wake up 04 and vote. You can't have a country where our people in the high density areas are the only ones who are able to choose, leaders for the country. The educated class, the middle class, always want to shun away. You can't be middle class. You can't even control, innocent. You've been paying your domestic worker, for 5 years. Time comes for voting, you are the boss, you're asking a domestic worker, control one vote. But you've got a PhD, you've got a big job, you're educated, you're exposed, you've traveled the whole world. You can't manage to control one vote and say, in this election, the best candidate is Bran. And I tell people, the same proponents say, no, the opposition will split the vote. The opposition are not united. There is unity of the opposition, but there is also infiltration of the opposition.
Right.
So when you are in opposition, it's tough. I must concede, it's tough to be in opposition. So it takes brave men to stand ground and remain in opposition. But at the end of the day, you must realize that it's not about uniting with everybody, including people who may not be comfortable. Others, you can't have a society where all of you agree 100%. That all of your political parties agree. No. Others will say, no, us, we're not comfortable, we'll run like this, us. But at the end of the day, what the country has gone through in the last 5 years, the people of Zambia will not split their vote. The people of Zambia, generally, historically, check the statistics, they would vote for the top 2 or top 3 in the presidential race. So you not have presidential race votes scattered for amongst 5 people, 10 people. No. Votes will be scattered, in the top maximum, it will be 3. It will be 3. And when you look at the indicators countrywide, when you look at the movement, when you look at the masses who are turning up at the NRPUP rally led by Brian Mundubile, voluntarily, I was in 91, when there was the MMD, movement. This one, to me, sounds even bigger.
You think so?
Of course. You
the 2026 general election sounds bigger than the 1991.
The movement and the euphoria which is gripped the Donse, presidential ticket. It's phenomenal. You could say there's no money. Yes, there's no money, but people are coming. You could say, no, these are boys. Yes, they are boys, but they're going to rule. They're winning the election. And
boys who are also broke. You were mocked actually by the president himself that those boys have no money. They are actually now asking you to donate.
We don't want to go into petty issues really, but I'll tell you that at that level of organization, yes, resources could be a challenge, but resources, it's the people of Zambia. The biggest resource the boys have is the masses, the people of Zambia. That is their resource. Their resource is the will of the people of Zambia to show up and vote. And my appeal also is these post staff who are being deployed by Electoral Commission of Zambia. Yeah. I would want to make a very passionate appeal that they must just do the correct thing. They must avoid doing anything crime. Right. Electoral Commission of Zambia is an independent, autonomous body of government. So if you've been employed and you've been posted to whatever area, go and do the correct thing. Don't get involved in criminal activities. You're a Zambian. You're a Zambian. We are all Zambians. So all the post staff who are being deployed, sent all over, crisscrossed and what have you, when you sit, the responsibility is upon you yourself to do the correct thing. That's all. We are not asking for a favor. No, we are just asking for you to do your work correctly. That's not too much to ask for. Your assumption is aptitude tests were run. You search for aptitude tests because that's the procedure, and you are shortlisted or picked. So if you're able to pass an aptitude test, you are credible to go and do the correct thing on the ground. So avoid somebody trying to influence or people trying to convince you to do crime because they believe they must, torpedo the will of the people. No, don't be an accessory to crime. All the post staff in Zambia who have been deployed by Electoral Commission of Zambia, you are Zambians. My passionate appeal is you do the correct thing. And I know it's difficult, but you will try to do the correct thing in the interest of your country, Zambia.
You've once run a rural constituency, Honorable, at your level, engineer. Tell me something, and the viewers watching the program, when they listen to you, a man who is well experienced in terms of governance, politics, as it were, and then you tell citizens that come August 13th, vote for Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu, regardless of what they are hearing, because you believe that President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND have failed. What kind of failure would you point at which should necessitate HH to be voted out of office?
It's basic, very basic. I'll give you a very basic example or illustrations. Our people, first and foremost, I want to point out that there's no country in the world where all its citizens are economists. No. Any country in the world, you have a mixed grill. You have your plumbers, you have your scientists, that's how the country is configured. So this use of technical jargon, to confuse people that you have performed when you're doing propaganda has limitations. Propaganda is not development. Propaganda is propaganda. That's one. Now, our people are very basic. A woman from George compound would go to Soweto and order tomatoes for 2 pin. Vagura tomato ya 2 pin, vaenda to George kumkugulisa. From there, transport costs and what have you, vakasiza kugulisa, she would have made a 4 pin. She keeps a 2 pin, which is a capital. She uses a 500 to buy maybe some small groceries for home, and a 1.5 she tries to bank or keep away for maybe a school fee or something. Now, the day she buys the tomato for 2 pin, goes to go and sell, she realizes instead of 4 pin, she realizes 2.5. She picks danger. I bought for 2 pin, I've only made 2.5. Nothing to save. Okay, I've bought some food, I've got 2 pin. Buys 2 pin again, she realizes 1 pin or 500. Whatever economics you say about performance, how you've done well and what, as far as she's concerned, she invested 2 pin, she has realized 500 kwacha. She starts calling you innocent. Oh, innocent is Congolese capital. Capital inangena. Nchani nagula tomato inaola taesa so ntandizen kondi. So I start calling relatives. They call relatives my couple. Again she goes to order. She now realizes 100 kwacha from 2 pin. 2 pin. Whatever indicators you talk about performance would just not make sense to that woman. No. Why? The fundamentals are upside down. You are operating at a level where you believe when you say you've restructured debt, it means people have got, she's made 4 pin or she's made 6 pin from 2 pin tomato. No. When you restructure debt, we must see the benefit of the restructuring of debt. Who says restructuring debt or employing, we would want to employ, our doctors, our nurses, our, teachers. Yes, it's normal. But who says growing a government wage bill is economic development? Is growing the economy? You have grown the wage bill, yes. But have you grown the economy? The answer is no. So for me, I'll tell you, the failure of this government is basically anchored on 2 fundamentals. One, they wasted so much time talking about PF. PF, they actually marketed PF inadvertently. Because all they were talking was PF. I was in Parliament. Early days, they will tell you, wait for our budget. We are in a PF budget. That was the first cycle, 2021. We are in PF budget, wait for our budget. Their budget came, they started saying, no, we need to restructure debt. You left a lot of debt. The same debt you said PF left a lot of debt, has grown. The domestic debt has grown. Where do you want your Zambians to go? When I say the domestic debt has grown, people go and supply beans to an institution, and they can't get paid. And they have families. They have people who look up to them. They are queuing up for a payment 6 months, and you are saying that you've got reserves. How? Before you talk about your reserves, pay your domestic debt. If you pay domestic debt 100%, and you come and say, now I've got reserves, maybe we can understand it. Because when you pay the domestic debt, you create liquidity in the economy. But me, I always want to avoid going technical.
Right.
Because I don't believe when you ascend to leadership or when you aspire for leadership, Your job is to solve problems. Bring solutions. Don't bring us stories. The people of Zambia, when you come and say, I want to be a president, you must, you must trust yourself that you have adequate solutions for their problems, not excuses. So if you contain solutions for them, you must come and say, I solved this. You are buying this at this cost. I've now reduced the cost to this.
Right.
You can't talk about, output on the mining sector to 3 million tons of copper, and you're not talking about, corresponding energy supply. And not solar. You're not talking about solar energy. So everything has turned into, when you come and say CDF, me in my constituency, rural constituency, that CDF has been there before. It was Zambia Social Investment Fund. They are community-based projects. The integrity of a community-based project is very different from the integrity of a project being done by central government. Why? The governance structure of a project being done by central government, you see the whole project management team, from project architect, project engineers, quantity surveyors, the supervision, everything is in order. You can't expect to have that at community level. It's like you're building a chicken run at your house, and somebody wants to build, a chicken run by government in a commercial venture. You can't compare the two. So you have a scenario where you can't have commissioning, these 1x3 classroom block in this age. What are you doing? I'm on record. I've never ever commissioned any CDF projects. I leave it for the ward councillor and the local leadership. No, it's too small. Have you heard of anybody, any leaders in the Middle East going to commission 1.3 classroom block? Innocent. 1x3 classroom block in Dubai to some commission. It's a waste. The cost of moving government employee or moving a presidential delegation to go and commission a CDF project is colossal, just to move.
Right.
Why are you doing it? Yes, CDF is an important tool for it's a mitigation on poverty.
Right.
Poverty mitigation measure, it's okay. But it's not a developmental tool. You can't develop Zambia using CDF. No.
It's not possible.
No, it's not possible. It's impossible. And that's why there's nothing to commission. You can't develop the country using CDF. CDF, we used to have micro projects unit funded by EU. It's the same scheme. Zambia Social Investment Fund, funded by World Bank. It's a community-based projects for a community, actually a small level, village level. Come together, put some sand, put things. Can you build this to help you ease poverty? You don't expect a community to develop a scheme to do a rail line to ease the traffic so that the copper can move quickly and we lessen pressure on our roads.
Right. I want us to pick up calls. We hear from our viewers and the contributions. As you know, that the country will be heading to the elections in the next 5 days from now. It's going to be a very crucial moment and a crucial exercise, which all of you who are watching the program, you have to participate in that regards. But before that, as you are preparing your calls or your phone calls, please allow me to just push in one question, Honorable. If you can spend just a minute, I would really appreciate.
Okay.
How was your experience in Parliament? Let's come to business parliament or business business house at a time when you were a member of Parliament. In the last 5 years, how was your stay in Parliament? You've pointed out that the Electoral Commission of Zambia, according to you, it is a compromised institution.
It's not credible.
It's not credible.
It's not credible.
You've also pointed out that there's need for the Register of Societies to also put its house in order.
For now, I want to focus on the elections.
ECZ.
ECZ, yes,
Right.
ECZ. These Registrar of Societies, let's leave it for another day, because now we are looking at the E-Day, the election day next week Thursday.
Right.
Next week Thursday.
Right.
So for now, the main issue
You want
is
to stick to that.
Electoral Commission of Zambia is not credible. is not credible.
Wow.
Just and I've qualified what I've said is not credible.
Yeah, you've just fired that.
I've told you,
yes.
they are accrediting people to go and watch a screen of Electoral Commission of Zambia instead of seeing results. When you accredit me to National Totaling Center, I want to see results and how they are being tallied. But don't accredit me and say we'll only start announcing results on the 17th.
All right. Just share with me as we pick up calls. How was your experience in Parliament the last 5 years?
Parliament, my Parliament experience was awesome.
Right.
It was a good, learning curve, and I could see, the level of research debates, the level of participation of members of Parliament, the level of democracy, within Parliament,
right,
and the level of contribution, especially from committee stage.
Right.
I chaired. A couple of committees there, or is it these, friendship associations? I chaired a grouping called UPNIFT, right, which is African Parliamentary Network on Illicit Financial Flows, which really borders on the looting of Africa's resources, at international level, and its impacts to the development crusade, in Africa.
Right.
I was a deputy chair, later on a committee on energy, water development, and tourism. I also was a member of a committee on ICT and media. So my experience there was decent.
Right.
I must be honest, it's not the most proud experience, of my life.
Right.
Yes, the biggest challenge we have in the Zambian political space is deceit. Right. Lies. Us politicians must stop lying. Right. It's as bad as that. I've never worked in an environment where adults tell lies. Than when I got into politics. Right. Yeah, so in politics, generally, this perception that to be a politician, you must tell lies, must come to an end. Right. Must come to an end. You can just tell the truth and convince people the truth. Right. And if the truth is not good enough, we shake hands, you walk away. Right. You walk away. So perhaps it's my training and exposure or experience in the private sector. Right. I'm more aligned to solutions, right, as opposed to quarreling and long talking and zero solution. Right. So for me, I'm more biased, right, towards resolving problems. Right. Yeah. Yes, we can have problems, but let's have a solution. What is the solution? Right. And let's interrogate. And go in depth. Exhaustively. Let's exhaust our thought, right, about the interrogation of solutions for this problem.
Right.
For this problem.
Let's hear from the viewers now. Dear viewers, you can call me. The number is right on your screens. And let's hear what you have this evening on the program. Of course, I've got Engineer Honorable Hon Katotobwe, who is a presidential candidate, or rather president of the Prsdt for Economic Progress, PEP, in that regards. Caller, good evening and welcome to the program. Good evening. Tell me your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Mumbitiri. I'm calling you from Chomwe.
Honorable Mumbi.
Honorable, how are you?
Good evening, Mayo. We are waiting for a new president next week.
But to which you're so quickly to go and join your brother Mundubile. I just came back from Southern Province. Machilala and CDF data, I was shocked. The Southern Province, particularly in Kemba, research that discovered balungu balikulire a double-story building secondary school, but then they have a musego. They are not even appreciating 1-by-3 classroom block. And the message, I want as many people to call in as possible as I conclude. Ine abantu balimpatanga ndera ndati abakalamba fwe bakalamba tusendeko backseat. What's life expectant in Zambia? But innocent, what is the life expectant in Zambia? Are you seeing the people who are misbehaving? Let me take an example of our chairperson for the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Gamalore Shapali life expectant. Is she interested in you young people? Chive, because I'm going to be 57 years old. Because in Shiva, life expectancy is 45 to 60. Ganasika ku 60 shinde ande suluka. Imwenga tamwini young people to change the scenario of this country. You are doomed. Look at how many now we only have high class and low class, middle class.
Yes, there's the middle class.
Even when we talk about employing the nurses and the doctors, you, but innocent as a journalist, you saw that teacher who came to plead for 5,000 umwana wakwena alwala aya ku Aida TV. If that teacher had the quality job, could he do that and embarrass himself? Look at that nurse who works in a hospital, who had no medication, went to Aida TV, appealed for money for medication. Is that the way you want the country to be? As if that's not enough, the Zambia Army commander came and told us to say he was going to, discriminate the people who were mining gold. I will find the word, I will remember it, because I've even put it on Facebook.
Exterminate.
All of our presidents, via Kumufumbwe, via Mukweba Abada, Nabatiash, and he didn't give that authority. Let us start that campaign to ask Vaziele, Idabade and Dati, Badea Mukuchita, get rid of people there, Aba Nabafwa, who gave him that authority. And I'm so glad Vaka Pokola, Itivavere Shavan Tukusenda Matiagas, before the elections, conditioning the people to things they are not used to.
All right, you may conclude, Honorable.
As I conclude.
Yes, please.
On the 12th, let us go and pray and put the candlelight so that the light should be in our country. Thank you, Hon Katotobwe.
No, totally
for good night.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for the solidarity.
Thank you, Matata.
Thank you very much, Honorable. We appreciate you as well. Thank you. All right, you are live. This is the Zambia Decides on KBN TV. Caller, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, Honorable Danda.
Good evening, good evening.
Yeah, Mr. Imwanza Makeni.
Thank you.
Right, go ahead, Mr. Imwanza.
Yeah, Honorable Wakamba Kune Manu and Ingeva Mileti Makamba Makola at the time.
Let's go.
Langatu, Wanata Time Yaita, Makamba Parimapi. Why you don't get a bite? Me as a caller, there's a what device. This device is a area, but no one can move. In
Sorry for that. Please call us back. The number is right there, of course. You can have your contribution. I have in the studio Honorable Hon Katotobwe, President of the Economic Progress, Party for Economic Progress. Hello, caller. Good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And tell me your name and where you're calling us from.
Madam Narishevo, calling from Garden Chilolo.
Go ahead, Madam Narishevo.
Thank you. Vari bwanji va Honorable Bakatoto.
Tiri bwino. Vari bwanji vana Narishevo litumezi.
Awe mukamba bwino maningi. Takonka pamene mwambira ma interview yanu and na pamene vina kuchitikilani pakuyimirira pa chipani chapacho ntembo ichi nokamba tiya isichiri nani kane mukayangana aba democracy amene baleta aba UPND sifunika kubapasa chance mwamene bakambira ba honorable mumbipiri bamayi banga tiranti pushing mwampamvu abantu bachokepo because baononga democracy mwayiona bantu mwaenda kuja kumafairo ini vapita later on TI ichi chipani chano chilangiza chini church which is not good mwaona and ivi vichitika muri government yabakainde so tifunika kulimba hapo chabe iboma ina mingalato olwapa tientinyamuke mwane bakambira amayi amumbipiri tifaitinge kamuseza babantu bapumule bantu vichitidwe vawa si bantu ane bamvera maadvice y'abantu bafuna vamene bafuna bakachita vonse mutotera mukakamba kuti iboma yano apa mwaruvya ati iyai so mukamba buno maningi tiri tigwirizane mwana akambira amayi amumbipiri timekinge sure abantu bapumule because background sibalipo because ndiye banabwera kwambo chinga vipani vabanzawo kuononga vipani vabanzawo aba bantu niwozimikiratu so pa 13 August abantu bazapumula ndiyo kamba kukwanga contribution takumverani mukamba buno maningi
zikomo amayi zikomo.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you for your contribution. You can call me. I'll pick up at least 3 calls, and then I will allow my guests to give response to what has come through. Let's have more calls on it, boy. We pick 3. Is it okay?
No, that's fine.
Okay, that's good. All right, let's have more calls from you, the viewers out there, and your contribution. Caller, good evening, and welcome to Zambia Decides on KBN TV.
Thank you so much. Good evening, IT.
Good evening to you. Tell me your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Senior Citizen. I'm calling you from Kitwe.
Senior Citizen, we appreciate you for coming through. Go ahead.
Yes, apparently, why I've run is because he is the second engineer to say that actually our president hasn't done anything within these past 5 years. Okay, the other one was the Honorable Kalengo from Northern Province. Okay, an engineer under Mwanawasa. I remember him for his construction works at that bridge on the Wapula River. Okay, now my comment is that you see, you are very, very educated as engineers. Okay, we expect at least positive assessments, okay, on the operations of government as well as the incumbent president. Why don't you come out truthfully so that you weigh the negatives and the positives? That will help the nation at large. I'm not an engineer, but I can see that here in Kitwe, the UPND government has constructed the only road made of concrete from Chilanga cement. It's the first of its kind. Anyway, and he's not an engineer, he's an economist. Now, presidency doesn't just mean leading. No. There are lots of things that we learn from these leaders, including integrity, honesty, and humility. Okay, it's not only, being in that office. No, there are a lot of things that we are learning. However, I can only say that, please, you, the people, you've got a chance to inform this country.
Right.
We've seen what Professor Kandulu has done, did by removing new allowances from students, a professor for that matter. I think I'll end here.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you so much, senior citizen. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you very much. Caller, good evening and welcome to the program.
Hello. Good evening, IT.
Good evening to you. Tell me your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Mulonda calling from Solwezi.
Your name again? Sorry.
Mulonda.
from.
Solwezi.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mulonda. Go ahead.
Okay. Mujibi tuona Hon Katotobwe.
Chant, my name, trying.
Good evening, Hon Katotobwe.
Good evening.
Okay. A quick one. I agree with you, Hon Katotobwe, about the ECZ. Number one, you can't use the same pot. You give a child, you put poison, and you say, if this child eats, will die. Then this one will eat from the same pot or the same plot, then you won't die. What I mean is, the same PEP was disqualified to say it's a church organization. The same PEP, the ECZ allowed two candidates, if I'm not mistaken. One is standing in Saise as a parliamentary candidate.
Yes.
The other one in Eastern Province. Same vote.
And Kabata.
Then,
And Kawata as well. And Kawata and Lusaka. That's what he's saying.
yes. Yep. So, ECZ, the ECZ is not credible to run these coming elections.
Absolutely.
The elections will not be free and fair. Then coming to what the president said here in Northwestern about the soldiers, I disagree with the sitting president. He was aware what happened in Mufungwe. He knew that the soldiers were coming to Northwestern to start shooting people or chasing people from Mufungwe. The same president is coming now back to Northwestern to say, I'm warning the soldiers to stay away from the mine.
All right. Okay. Right. Thank you so much for that. Please let me just allow my guest to respond. Then from there we close. The program time is not with us. Honorable, you may give your response.
Please, firstly, I'd want to thank Ramayo Vamumbipiri for her kind contribution. And I want to really extol her contribution to the Zambian political space, especially by our women. She was brave enough to join politics at an early age and has been able to consistently walk through the political path. That is the kind of dedication we are looking for from many Zambian people to actively take part in the political discourse of their own country. She remains a decorated person. Take nothing away from her. She's been able to speak for the people of Zambia. She's been able to speak on contentious issues in the country. Mayo, you are a blessing to the country. Secondly, the comment by Nalishevo, really it was more of encouragement and saying what we are putting across is credible and decent, and she stands with us and she wants change of government next week. Vanalishebo mwamene mwakambila ndiye vizachitika mpamvu zili kubantu. Power belongs to the people. So us leaders must always remember that this power we get, we are able to use it in a certain period of time. Once it expires, the power goes back to the people. In an election period like this one, the writing is on the wall. The current, president is not coming back. Why? He has not been able to lift the expectations of the people. No. It's as simple as that. The third one, by senior citizen, in terms of the only, concrete road, done in Zambia is in Kitwe. as an achievement. PF lost elections. They had done a massive airport, KK International Airport. PF had done the most expensive road, in Africa, the Mongu Kalabo Road. PF undertook, the Kazungula Bridge, massive projects. So in all these things, it's how do they benefit the local people. Now, when it comes to issues of integrity, humility, which senior citizen referred to, I'll give him a simple question, senior citizen, very sober, like I keep saying, as we speak from a position of fact. Having sat in Parliament, we saw the Bill 7, come through Parliament. And whatever processes happened, for, against, controversial, it happened. When Bill 7 goes through, we have seen, President Hakainde Hichilema come and say 5 UPND members voted against Bill 7.
Yes.
The record which Parliament showed us, I was watching Parliament TV on that day, there was no 5, UPND members who voted against the Bill 7. Now, that is grave. You can't have a sitting head of state come and say 5 members of Parliament voted against Bill 7, and he goes on to name them. The record at Parliament, which was televised live, there is no 5 sitting members of Parliament from UPND who were depicted to have voted against Bill 7. So the perspective is simple, the narrative is simple. It's either the Speaker of National Assembly, Madam Nelly Muti, and her management tampered with the Bill 7. Because why didn't the results show that 5 have voted against? Or President Hakainde Hichilema is saying something which nobody knows about. So I'm driving at integrity. Now, the Constitution of Zambia, that is the supreme law of the country, it's a sensitive document. So when I read the current president say 5 voted against, and Parliament has failed to publish the names of the people who voted for and against, but the proceedings which were televised live on that day showed that at second reading there were 2 no's. At third reading there was 0 no. So where are the 5? If they voted no, we should see second reading 5 no, or maybe 7, if the third reading 5 no. So when we're talking about integrity and you're tampering with such a sensitive document by a senior citizen, this is a document which binds the country together. This is a document which sets the rule of law. And it's tampered with. Up to now, we don't know who voted yes, who voted no, which 5 UPND members or minister voted no, but the president has said there are 5. We'll leave that for another day. The second one, when you come to integrity, humility, is the case of JJ Banda. Emmanuel Banda was a bona fide member of parliament for Petaoke. As a member of parliament, you have diplomatic status. So a member of parliament is a diplomat, and that's why we are given diplomatic passports. JJ Banda is abducted. JJ Banda is brutalized, and finally, with God's grace, he is, discovered, and he goes to hospital, is removed from hospital, is taken to police or court. But in the process, for me, I want to make it simple. When you are abducted as a member of parliament, you are not a nobody. You are a leader of the country. You are a leader of Zambia. When you are found, the first thing is to find who abducted you. You can't arrest a person who was abducted or a person who was kidnapped, and now that he's been found, you arrest him for events of so many years ago. But you fail to deal with the people who abducted him. Today, we have no idea of who are the abductors or who've been called to book. But what I'm driving at is the breakdown of the rule of law. How do you, if you're abducted today by Innocent Perry, and you are discovered, the first thing is to look for the culprits who did this crime. But you can't be arrested for a crime of some other years, which you are not arrested when you're in parliament. All this period in parliament, you're not arrested. You only get arrested after being abducted. So these things, to some of us, we may not be the most talkative by training. We want solutions. But what we see is a problem which has emerged. And that's how now you find a scenario where you have a discredited body like Electoral Commission of Zambia masquerading that they are credible. How? How? You can't govern using propaganda. You can't govern using propaganda. No. When you're in government, tell the truth. Tell the truth. If you are not credible, come clean and say we are not credible. We are battling to become credible. At least, but don't come and start posturing that you're a credible institution. You are not. The Electoral Commission of Zambia is not a credible institution. And I have qualified why. They are not credible. The third one, it's about the Solwezi gentleman, Vamlonda, and it's about ECZ. Yes, this ECZ is a challenge, Unfortunately, for them, it's not, it's an institution which is getting dented. So our appeal really must be that the commissioners at the Electoral Commission of Zambia must, sit up and do the correct thing. The overwhelming will of the people of Zambia cannot be stopped. The overwhelming will of the people of Zambia cannot be stopped. Let them just do the correct thing. Let them try for once to have some, semblance of, autonomy. Because they are supposed to be independent. They are supposed to be autonomous. But everything is pointing that they have no independence. They are not an independent body. And that's why they continue listening to outsiders, which led to us failing to be allowed to compete in this year's presidential election. And that's why they continue making decisions 5 days before elections. Who decides 5 days before elections that the voter verification device should not be used? This voter verification device has been used in all the voter education countrywide, using taxpayers' money. This voter verification device only role is to help give accurate data in terms of turnout. It's supposed to feed into an ECZ system. The moment elections close, you should know the turnout in Chilabombwe, the turnout in Livingstone, you must know. And it will give you, disaggregated data. It will give you data which you can use to plan on as ECZ.
Right.
Instantly you have that. Now you don't want that data. Why? Why are you scared of knowing the turnout of the election as elections close? Why are you scared of knowing how many women, how many men, how many youth voted, how many, persons with disability? And 5 days before polling, you make such a decision. 5 days before polling, you come and say everybody being accredited to international, totaling center, Mlungushi International Conference Center, will only start announcing on 17th. Why do you want to keep results? Who is giving you instructions that you must keep results? It's an internationally accepted norm that when elections are held, when results come in, the results must be announced. These results will be stuck at each polling station, mind you. Each polling station will stick the results when they announce them. Your job is to verify, validate, and announce.
Right. Engineer, we have to go. But as we close the program, allow me to quote some of the remarks you've made on this program as you were commenting on the callers that have come through. You said the current president, Hakainde Hichilema, is not coming back.
Yes.
Come 13th August 2026. End of quote. Did you say that?
Yes, yes, absolutely. You had asked me another one where you said, if I were him, what would I do? The expectation of the Zambian people is for President Hakainde Hichilema to address the nation on the 12th of August, a day before voting, and say bye to the Zambian people. If I were him, I'd be preparing to address the nation and say bye to the Zambian people on the 12th of August. Because the Zambian people have made their decision. They are changing the president of the country under very bizarre circumstances, because the party that is taking over is a party which came into boom, 8 weeks, 10 weeks ago. And the so-called boys, who have been called boys, are coming to rule this country. And the people make the assessment. For now, the people of Zambia, wherever I've been, mind you, I hail from a construction sector and we've traversed the whole country. The mood in the country, it's not about MPs or councillors or mayors, no. The real mood is people want change or on top. People want to vote for President Brian Mundubile and send President Hakainde Hichilema home. That is the mood.
That's what the people are saying.
That's everywhere I've gone.
That's a demand and
That's
a
a
desire
demand.
of many people.
And they've got reasons. They've got their rationale. When they qualify it, it's very simple. It's basically, how have you looked after people? How have you looked after them?
Given an opportunity to meet President Hakainde Hichilema today, ahead of the elections, 5 days remaining, or 4 days remaining, what would you tell him?
Salvage some last-minute credibility. Do the correct thing. He's the president. He's been a president, for Zambia. And, that can never be changed. He goes into the history of this country as the 7th Republican president. Unfortunately, whether people like saying advisors or himself or expose, whatever, at the end of the day, the deliverables to the, Zambian people have come short. And the level of deceit or propaganda by a government run by him is alarming. My not being a candidate in this presidential race should have concerned him. As a president of the country, you should have said, no. I stood 5 times. You can't be blocked standing first time. First time. We wrote to him, there's been no reply. So we cut losses. For me, it's solutions. As we look for solutions, as a former president, he will remain an asset to the country. The same boys who are making it as president and vice president may need to pick on him on 1 or 2, aspects of geopolitics, of where he went wrong or where he thinks they should improve. We should get back to normal. This thing of wanting to inconvenience each other. No. In Zambia, we must all exist. Zambia has enough resources for people to live harmoniously and happily.
Your closing remarks and your message to the Zambian people ahead of the elections.
My closing remarks are twofold. The first one is that the people of Zambia have decided that they are changing the president of Zambia next week on the 13th. We are going to see a new president emerge in the name of President Brian Mundubile and Vice President, Makebi Zulu. That is done. That is done. The next thing is the process, the electoral process must be protected by the monitors. And anybody who's involved in the electoral process must do the correct thing. Let's not start getting involved in criminal acts because of pressure or wanting to appease this or this. No. Everybody who's involved in the electoral process or the polling staff, my appeal is do the correct thing. When you do the correct thing, you are insulated from any future issues that may arise. Why? You did the correct thing. Well, did the correct thing. Lastly, it's our middle class. Our middle class, which is really, like Mumbi said, not there, it's low class, high class. The educated or the high class citizens in Zambia must start showing up in the political space. So you, the educated, cannot sit and just talk from pub or a golf club watching football or something. No, 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 no. The national affairs are more important than any one of us. So the fear of taking part, by, the educated class must come to an end. There is no country that has registered, serious development trajectory without the involvement of the educated class. So you, the educated class, are an integral component in the political dispensation of this country. And it's time the educated class started losing fear of being seen that I'm aligned here, or I voted here, or I didn't vote. No, 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 no. Right. You must start to control, the destiny of this country by participating. When the economic benefits come, you, the educated class, are major beneficiaries. But you can't keep aloof. You can't keep watching. You can't keep saying, no, 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 me, I just talk in a bar at a golf club, or me, I just talk. No, 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 no. You must show some brevity. Take to the stage. You can't go in an election. You you have your job, yes, but things may not be as good as they should be, and you can't control even a vote of your domestic worker because you're scared. So my appeal is that the educated class must also show up. The majority of the people of Zambia are not in that class, and they've decided. But we need the educated class to also be getting involved in these national issues. They must come to the table. Yes, they don't shun away and say it's dirty, you want to chill in a corner. No, I'm chilling. No, this is your country. Feel free to show up. You have every right that in this country of yours, you must sit up and contribute. And that is nationalism.
Wow, interesting. Thank you so much, Engineer Katotobwe, for coming.
Lastly, before
yes,
just the last comment.
Yeah.
My last comment is as President Mundubile, takes over the reins of the country, we as PEP will be submitting that he must consider scrapping the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Wow. And instituting a tribunal to just clean up the mess. It's a terrible mess. It's an embarrassment to the country.
Wow.
And we'll be trying to make submission, the moment he takes office.
For you, cleaning the ECZ is a priority. It's a matter of life and death.
It's at the center of 22 million Zambians.
Right.
So you can't have a non-credible institution at the center of 22 million Zambians. It's a risk to the country. It's a risk to the country. It's a risk to our peace. It's a risk to our existence as a country. Yes. So as PEP, we'll definitely be, submitting to President, Brian Mundubile, that the Electoral Commission of Zambia must be scrapped, a tribunal instituted, and let's have an electoral body that can give us, a confidence that they will do the correct thing and they are credible. They're credible than an electoral body which is basically, it's the level of credibility is nothing to write home about. It's embarrassing. It embarrasses me as a Zambian.
Wow.
So thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable President, for coming through to the program.
The pleasure is mine.
The best.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a momentous period.
Right.
Yes, we get into elections next week. We are praying that all goes well and the country remains safe.
Right.
And technically in this period, really, it's transitional. It's transitional. And we are hopeful that, everybody in authority will respect the will of the people.
Wow.
Yeah, the will of the people prevail. And once there's a new government, the new government must look after everybody.
Wow.
Everybody, I mean everybody.
You are really emphasizing on the new government.
Yes, they must look after everybody. Those jobs, you don't go, I told you how they kept saying PF.
Yeah.
If the new government thinks they'll come and start saying UPN, no.
Right.
They must come and look after every Zambian.
Right.
Every Zambian, including Zambians who are in UPND. The new government must come and look after them.
Right.
After them. That is their job. That is the job they've asked for.
Right.
That is the job of President Mundubile that Makebis will have asked for. Right. So it's not, we are not begging for a favor. Right. That is the job they've asked. They must look after everybody.
All right.
everybody. Thank you.
All right, so Zambians, you decide, you make a final decision come 13th of August 2026, which will be on Thursday this week. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and to all of you that made up to contribute to this program. We also appreciate you and your contribution. Thank you very much. Remember, let's keep the peace Zambia has enjoyed for many years. We are talking about over 60 years since we attained our political independence. So let's preserve that. That's quite important. I've been hosting Progress for Economic Progress, PEP, in Prsdt rather for Economic Progress, PEP, President, who is Honorable Engineer Chanda Katotobwe. May God bless Zambia. May God bless Mother Africa. Good night.
Good night.
Did you know that registered voters and patriotic Zambians alike from across the country watch and follow KBN TV as Zambia decides this August for in-depth analysis of political news